You didn't get used to chaos because you wanted it. You got used to it because every time he came back, your body felt relief. At first, it didn't feel like chaos. It felt like a rhythm. He's warm, then he's gone. He's deep, then he's dry. He's, I miss you, at 11:40 p.m. and been busy the next day like you imagined the whole thing. And the misread moment isn't when he disappears. It's when he comes back. Because when he comes back, your body relaxes. Your mind goes, okay, there he is, we're good. And you don't notice what just happened. You don't notice that he trained you to accept confusion as the price of closeness. Picture a normal night. You're not even trying to be dramatic. You're just doing your life. Then your phone lights up. It's him. Not a casual, hey. It's the version of him you like. The one that sounds present. The one that asks a real question. The one that makes you feel like he actually sees you. So you answer. And you answer fast. You start smiling for no reason. You start talking softer. Your brain starts connecting dots that weren't connected an hour ago. He says something like, I've been thinking about you. Or he sends a voice note that feels intimate. Like he's in his room, alone, choosing you. You think, this is him. This is the real him. Then you go to bed with that warmth in your chest. And the next morning, nothing. Or worse, something small that feels like nothing. A morning with no follow-up. A dry reply hours later. A joke that skips right over what he said last night. You check your phone once, then again. Then you act like you didn't. And here's the part that starts the normalization. You don't tell yourself, this is inconsistent. You tell yourself, maybe he was just tired. You don't call it mixed signals yet. You call it a man being a man. You call it he's busy. You call it he's not a texter. And because he does come back eventually, you start living in the gap like it's normal. That gap becomes your new home. The space between his warmth and his absence becomes where you do all your thinking. You replay the good parts like they were proof. You downplay the cold parts like they were temporary. And that's the uncomfortable truth. A woman doesn't get addicted to the cold. She gets addicted to the relief. Relief is when he returns. Relief is when he sends the long message. Relief is when he suddenly acts like you matter again. So the chaos doesn't feel like chaos anymore. It starts feeling like the relationship. And that's exactly why this gets dangerous, quietly. Because once mixed signals feel normal, you stop measuring love by consistency. You start measuring it by intensity. You start thinking the real moments are the late-night ones, the soft ones, the ones where he finally sounds honest. And everything else, his distance, his delay, his vagueness, becomes something you manage instead of something you question. You don't even notice you're shrinking your standards, not because you're weak, because you're trying to keep access to the version of him that shows up in flashes. And once you're hooked on the flashes, you'll tolerate a lot of dark in between. And once those flashes start working on you, you don't even notice the story you build around them, because your mind keeps trying to make the whiplash make sense. So you take the warm version of him, and you treat it like the truth, like the real him finally came out. You tell yourself, he wouldn't say that if he didn't mean it. You tell yourself, men don't open up like that for no reason. You tell yourself, if he keeps coming back, it has to be going somewhere. And I get why that story sticks. It's not stupid. It's logical, if the warmth is stable. But with a man like this, the warmth isn't a foundation. It's a flare. It's a signal he sends just long enough to pull you back in without having to actually stay close. Here's how it usually plays out. You meet up, and it's good. Not fake good, real good. He looks at you a little longer than normal. He holds your hand like he's proud of it. He's attentive. He's present. Then later, maybe you're in the car or you're walking back from dinner, and he says something that hits you. Something like, "I haven't felt this with someone in a long time." Or, "You're different." Or, "I'm not trying to mess this up." And that line goes straight into the part of you that's been trying to be patient. Because it sounds like a promise, without being a promise. It sounds like he's finally stepping toward you. So you soften more. You give more. You stop keeping track of what's missing because you feel like you just got confirmation of what you hoped was there. Then he pulls back. And instead of letting that pullback mean what it means, you start editing reality to protect that one moment. You think, maybe he got scared. You think, maybe he likes me too much. You think, maybe he's been hurt before. You think, maybe he's just not used to something real. And that's how the mixed signals start feeling romantic. Because if you label his inconsistency as fear, then you can turn waiting into loyalty. You can turn confusion into depth. You can turn your own anxiety into proof that this matters. Now you're not just dealing with bad behavior. You're being understanding. You're giving him time. You're not pressuring him. And the worst part is, you start feeling proud of how calm you can act while you're quietly falling apart. Real scene. You write a message. Not a crazy one, just a clear one. "Hey, I felt a shift. Are we okay?" Then you stare at it. You delete a sentence because it feels too needy. You change "felt a shift" to "hope you're having a good day" because you don't want to chase him away. You add a smiley face like it's a seatbelt. And when he finally answers, it's not cruel. It's just light. "Yeah, I'm good. Just been slammed." No question back, no warmth, no real return. But you still breathe out like, okay, at least he didn't disappear. That's the new standard. Not, does he want me? But, did he leave me? And because he didn't fully leave, you tell yourself you should be grateful. So what did you think it meant? You thought the warm moments were his real feelings, and you thought the cold moments were just life getting in the way. But the truth is, the pattern is the message. Not the speeches, not the apologies, not the late-night honesty. The pattern. Because consistency is where a man shows his real intention. And when the pattern is hot and cold, what he's really doing is keeping you close enough to feed your hope, but far enough to avoid responsibility. And once you start calling that normal, you stop asking the most important question. Not, why is he like this? But, why does he only show up when it costs him nothing? And that question sits in your chest, because if you answer it honestly, a lot of the story collapses. Because what was really happening wasn't mysterious. It just wasn't romantic. A man can be emotionally intense and still not be emotionally committed. That's the part women don't get warned about enough. Some men are great at making you feel close in the moment. They can say the right thing. They can look you in the eyes. They can feel something real, right then. But real in the moment is not the same as real enough to build on. And with a mixed signal man, the warm version of him isn't a hidden treasure you have to unlock. It's a tool. Sometimes he uses it on purpose. Sometimes he uses it without even realizing it. But either way, it serves him. Here's the basic male logic behind it, in plain language. When things are casual and easy, he can be sweet. When he senses expectation, he gets tight. When closeness starts turning into a decision, he backs up. Not because you did something wrong, because he wanted access without the weight. He wanted the girlfriend feeling without the girlfriend standard. So the second closeness starts asking for consistency. Something in him pulls back. He starts protecting his freedom. That's why he's warm after you pull away. That's why he's distant after you get close. That's why he can be amazing on Friday night and vague on Sunday afternoon. Real scene. You spend a really good night together. Not just sex, the whole vibe. He's affectionate after. He's talking. He's holding you like you're his person. He says something soft, something that lands deep. Then you leave. And the next day, you send something normal. A little check-in, a small joke, a how's your day? And suddenly he moves like you're asking for a contract. He doesn't answer for hours. Then it's short. Then it's surface level. Not because your text was too much, because your text was continuing the closeness into daylight. That's what changes it. Nighttime closeness feels private. It feels like a bubble. It feels like he can enjoy you without having to define you. But daytime closeness brings structure. It brings, what are we? It brings, are you consistent? It brings, will you show up when it's not late and not romantic and not convenient? And that's where a lot of men reveal what they actually came for. Another scene. He's quiet for 2 days. You finally decide to stop reaching. Then, like clockwork, he pops back up with something that sounds intimate. Been thinking about you. Or he sends a meme that's an inside joke between you two. Or he says, I've been off lately. I just needed space. And you think, okay, he's self-aware. But look at what just happened. He didn't come back with a plan. He didn't come back with clarity. He came back with a feeling. Because feelings are cheap for him. Feelings keep the door open. Feelings keep you emotionally invested. But clarity would cost him something. Clarity would mean he can't drift in and out without consequences. So he gives you enough emotional contact to keep you attached, but not enough stability to make you secure. And if you try to name the pattern, if you say, hey, I need consistency, he doesn't usually respond with honesty. He responds with a fog. He'll say things like, I'm not good at this. I'm just going through a lot. I don't want to rush. I do like you. That just is where you get trapped. Because it sounds like the answer is coming, but it never fully arrives. And here's the strongest truth in this whole thing. Mixed signals aren't him being confused about you. They show what he has learned he can do without losing you. He's testing what level of inconsistency you'll stay for. Not with a villain laugh, just with behavior. If you stay when he goes cold, he learns he can go cold. If you forgive the vague, he learns vague works. If you accept busy as a relationship structure, he learns he doesn't have to do more. And the more you adjust, the more normal it feels. Because now, you're not dating a man. You're dating his moods. You're dating his availability. You're dating the version of him that shows up when he wants closeness and disappears when that closeness starts requiring a decision. And once you see that, the next question gets even sharper. It's not just, what is he doing? It's, what is this doing to me? And that's when you start noticing yourself. Not in some dramatic way. In small, quiet ways that don't look serious. Until you add them up. Because the real damage of mixed signals isn't the man. It's what your mind turns into while trying to stay close to him. At first, you think you're just being patient. Then one day, you catch yourself checking your phone in the bathroom, just to see if he replied. You catch yourself rereading the last good message he sent, like it's a receipt you can hold up to prove you're not crazy. You start timing things. If I wait 2 hours, I won't look eager. If I reply too fast, he'll pull away. If I don't show I care, maybe he'll come closer. You start acting like love is a game you have to play correctly to win. And the worst part? You start believing his distance is feedback about your value. Real scene. It's a normal afternoon. You're in the middle of something. Work, errands, whatever. And you see he posted a story. He's alive. He's out. He's laughing. He's got time for the world. But he hasn't had a second to answer you. So you feel that sharp little hit. Not jealousy, not anger, more like humiliation. Like you're standing outside a door you weren't invited through, and you tell yourself not to care. You tell yourself you're above it. But your body is already tense, so you do what most women do. You try to regain control without asking for it. You go quieter. You act cooler. You pretend you're busy too. And when he finally comes back with a warm message, you feel your chest loosen like you were holding your breath the whole time. That's how the addiction forms. Not because you love chaos, because your whole body starts treating his return like relief. He creates the ache. Then he becomes the medicine. And when a man becomes your relief, you stop seeing him clearly. You start managing him. You start negotiating with yourself. You say things like, maybe I shouldn't bring it up. Maybe I asked for too much. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe he's just stressed. Notice what's happening there. You're no longer asking, is this good for me? You're asking, how do I stay lovable inside this pattern? That question slowly erodes you. Because now, every time he goes cold, your mind starts scanning for what you did wrong. You replay the last conversation. Was my tone weird? Did I say too much? Did I seem emotional? Should I have ended the date differently? Should I have waited to text? And the more you replay, the more you lose trust in your own instincts. That's the hidden consequence. Mixed signals don't just confuse you about him. They confuse you about you. You stop knowing what you want to say. You stop knowing what's reasonable to ask for. You stop knowing where your line is. Because every time you start to feel your line, you remember the risk. If I speak up, he might disappear. So you swallow it. And swallowing it doesn't make it go away. It just turns into a low-grade anxiety you carry all day. Even when he's being nice, even when he's being sweet. Because you know the switch can flip at any time. So you can't fully relax. You can't fully enjoy him. You're always bracing for the next drop. And here's a truth that's hard to admit, but it's clean. When a man is inconsistent, you don't just lose him. You start losing your calm. You start losing your dignity in small ways. Not because you're desperate, because you're trying to survive a pattern that keeps moving the floor under you. And that's why chaos felt normal. You didn't choose it because you wanted chaos. You accepted it because, little by little, instability started feeling like the price of being close to him. And now, the final shift has to happen. Because the way out isn't to become colder. It isn't to become better at the game. It's to see the truth clearly enough that your body stops bargaining. So let's name the real truth of what this pattern means, and what it never meant. And once you see what it did to you, you start seeing the pattern with different eyes. Not angry eyes, not bitter eyes, clear eyes. Because the real truth is simple, but it's the one thing you kept trying not to accept. If a man's signals are mixed, his answer is no. Not no, he feels nothing. No, he's not choosing you in a way that changes his behavior. No, he's not building anything. And it matters to say it like that, because your heart kept getting tricked by his emotional moments. You kept thinking the moments were the relationship. but the relationship is what happens in between the moments. It's how he acts on an ordinary afternoon. It's the way he handles small effort. It's whether he follows through when nobody's lighting is soft and nobody's lonely. That's where his truth lives. And here's another truth that's going to protect you if you let it land. Some men mean what they say, and still don't intend to carry it. He might mean it when he says, "I miss you." He might feel it when he holds you close. He might even believe it for that hour. But meaning it for an hour is not the same as choosing it for a month. You weren't crazy for feeling something. You were just treating feelings like a contract. And feelings are not a contract. Consistency is. Let me give you a clean example. Real scene. He disappears again after being warm. 2 days, 3 days, whatever his usual pattern is. Then he comes back like nothing happened. "Hey you, how have you been?" And your chest does that stupid little jump, even after everything, because you still remember the warm version of him. And this is the moment where your whole life can change, quietly. Not with a speech. With one internal decision. You don't answer the warmth anymore. You answer the pattern. Because if you answer the warmth, you train yourself to call it love. If you answer the pattern, you finally let yourself call it instability. And one of those two will set the tone for the rest of your relationships. So what do you do with the truth? You stop trying to decode him. You stop asking, what did he mean? You stop asking, is he scared? You stop asking, does he like me? And you start asking the only question that matters. Is the version of him I get most of the time good enough for my life? Not, can I earn the better version? Not, can I wait until he becomes consistent? Because that's the trap. The trap is you keep dating his potential and paying for it with your peace. Now, I'm going to say something protective of your dignity. You don't need more intensity. You need more reliability. Intensity without reliability is just emotional debt. It feels exciting, but you always pay later. And if you've been living in this pattern for a while, you might have this fear. If I stop accepting it, I'll lose him. Yes, that's the point. Because what you're really losing is the addiction to relief. You're losing the cycle where he creates the ache and then temporarily soothes it. You're losing the version of love that keeps you on standby. And when you lose that, something returns to you that you didn't even realize you gave away. Your self-trust. You start texting like a normal human again. You start sleeping without checking your phone. You start making plans without leaving gaps, just in case he calls. You stop dressing your standards down to make them fit a man who won't rise. And the final truth is this. The reason his mixed signals started feeling normal wasn't because you were built for chaos. It's because you kept hoping the warm version of him was the real one. But the real one is the whole pattern. The delays, the vagueness, the disappearing, the returning, the intimacy without the responsibility. That's him. And once you accept that, you stop taking it personally. You stop trying to be easy enough to keep. And you start choosing men who don't make you earn calm. Because real love doesn't make you earn calm. It lets you breathe.